I do indeed. Thank you, Marvin. All right, let me get this into presentation mode. All right, cool. So thanks everyone for joining. My name is Angela Praxty, and I am the CMO of Verge Brewing. Yeah, we're really just looking to build the next great neighborhood brewery in the west side of Cincinnati. So we have a fantastic and experienced team made up of two families, the Schmidts and the Benders. Greg and Tyra and their daughter Maddie, along with their family friend Phil, have partnered with myself and my dad, Pete Bender, to create the Brewery Dream Team. So Greg has years and years of retail management experience with Office Depot. Tyra alone has 31 years of chemistry experience, which is just amazing. Pete has 25 years of homebrewing experience. Greg, Phil, and Pete all have experience brewing on very large systems. Maddie, Phil, and Pete all have a media background, and I myself have over 7 years of digital advertising agency experience. So the entire brew team has been through the rigorous technical beer judge certification program training, so you can be confident that they really do know how to make the best product possible. As we look forward into the opportunity, despite what you see here on the right, there are still really few neighborhoods in the greater Cincinnati area with their own brewery. What we've seen is that larger breweries are focused more on regional tastes rather than their neighborhood's desires, and not many of the breweries today are openly family owned. Also, in reflecting some of the challenges that are present across the brewing industry, Cincinnati has few women and minorities in brewery leadership. So as the majority of recent brewery expansion has been along the I-71 corridor, this represents a ripe opportunity in the west side of Cincinnati. So we've explored potential properties in Delhi, West Price Hill, and Green Township, all of which have strong community leadership and a vision for the future. They're really great neighborhoods with some serious growth potential. And beyond the business upside, we love and appreciate the west side's community and family vibe. And there's really a reason that Greg and Tyra have called that area home for decades. So our vision is to bring a proudly family-owned, community-focused brewery home to the West Side. And we're also proud to have created a diverse founding group that is half women, myself included, and honored to have a strong Native American presence in Tyra and Maddie. So our three pillars to Verge Brewing are excellence, community, and responsibility. We will create delicious beers the right way. As you know, our team is uniquely qualified to make that happen. We want to create a space that is a family-oriented home away from home, what some people will call a third place. It's not home, it's not work, it's somewhere else that you can really be comfortable and be yourself. And then we will use our platform to champion causes that are meaningful to our community. What that means for us, of course, is championing those causes as we find them, but then also exploring opportunities to make sustainable what is truly at its heart a manufacturing process. In addition, this team has had the benefit of being able to go to school at great cost, and we know that that's not possible for everyone. So we would love to partner with those in our community and create scholarships, whether that's at the high school or collegiate levels. So here's what we've pulled together from a directional perspective. As far as the space is concerned. Going back to my German heritage and that of much of Cincinnati, we'd love to provide a sizable outdoor space in the form of a beer garden. And inside, the tap room itself is roomy yet comfortable, with a space to accommodate roughly 100 under the current restrictions and 250 or more patrons during normal use. We also have a kitchen space for a restaurant partner who would also be able to leverage the taproom space as a dining area, also providing a secondary source of income through a sublease of that kitchen. Another secondary source of income will be at least one rentable party room or conference space. And of course, we'll be open to rental of the entire facility for larger events as well. The manufacturing facility is what you'd expect for a brewery, large enough to accommodate a 15-barrel brewing system to allow for potential scaling, and then as well as back office space. Our goal is to provide a minimum of 50 parking spaces for our patrons. So what will folks get in this space? They will get a broad assortment of award-winning and award-worthy beers. And the team is going to leverage their beer judging skills to achieve this excellence. And we know excellence. We know what it tastes like. So the team has had incredible success in brewing, but also judging. There's tons of technical knowledge, and this team creates a quality beer product that people love. The brew team has medaled over 75 times in competitions locally and nationally, as well as on the regional stage. So our current key milestones, we're currently in our first round of public crowdfunding through Wonder Fund. Our primary goal is to be able to put a down payment on the brewing equipment that has a manufacturing lead time of roughly 6 to 9 months. And then from there, we're looking to finalize our location here in Q2 and work with a firm on some final architectural drawings. What you saw before is very directional and what we would love to see in an ideal scenario. So being able to put pen to paper and make that a reality where we choose to live is going to be very important. Then we're looking to do a second round of crowdfunding in Q3, but then in Q4 actually begin our build out and construction as determined by that finalized location. Even in an existing facility, things like engineering floors may need to be done and can take a good amount of time. Then as we move into Q1 of 22, we'll begin brewing on the equipment to optimize our process as we put the finishes on the tap room with a goal to open our doors in Q3 of 2022. So putting together a brewery is no small financial feat. Our owner families have already made a sizable contribution, and we're seeking about $300K in an SBA loan of the 7A variety. We're also looking for a max equity raise across all of our Wonder Fund investor opportunities of $750K in order to offset upfront costs. We're also looking to have our tenant improvements baked into our monthly rent so we can manage that effectively. We have lots of connections in the tight-knit brewing community here in Cincinnati, and we've shared our pro forma as well as our budget numbers, and they've definitely gotten the sense that this is realistic based on their experience. In the same vein, so we've got our pro forma, you see here, year one is a partial year, but when we get into year 2 and year 3, you can see that expenses are relatively flat going forward. There's some variability for shifts and raw material expenses, things like hops and grain. For as far as doing dividends is concerned, in years 1 and 2, we're looking to retain our earnings, increase our cash on hand, and maintain liquidity so we can reevaluate and reduce liabilities as soon as possible. And then we're looking to provide a dividend to our Class C investors beginning in year 3. So as I mentioned, for our public raises, we have an overall goal of $750K. We have shares for our management team, as well as the dividend producing preferred shares for investors putting in 10K plus, and then common shares beginning as low as $100. Now, all of that doesn't go without thanks. We have a variety of fantastic thank you gifts lined up for our investors at various investment levels. Everyone, no matter what level you invest in, will receive a beautiful Verge glass. Our thank you gifts compound with our highest tier 25K investors receiving all of our wonderful gifts, culminating with a great thank you with a private brew with the Verge team day and barrel. And you didn't hear it from me, but if you're very lucky, you may have a chance to name the beer you make. So as a founding member of the Verge Brewing Company, I invite you to become a part of the family and join us as an owner. We want to be your brewery.
Thank you, Angela. Great job. Are there any questions for Angela and the Verge Brewing team? Feel free to either text them here, or if you want to unmute yourself, you can ask them. Okay. Angela, I do have one question for you. With in the west side of town, what is it about the west side of town that there is not a brewery over there?
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that with Cincinnati and the heritage that you have over there, that of Irish, Catholic, German heritage over there, that there'd be a lot of them. What do you think is
Yeah,
going
you'd
on?
think so. So I think that there's a perception of the West Side as being, very like light beer drinkers, those who are perhaps purchasing, cans, 12 packs of cans and just going to town. But I think that that's probably a misnomer. I think that, folks on the West Side are very interested in having a variety of flavors available to them, like what you see in craft breweries. I think one thing that the West Side has against it, as far as folks opening up new breweries, is that it's more difficult to get over there. There's not as many major highways. And so that's part of the reason why, as we're looking at it from the opportunity of a neighborhood brewery, that, we aren't looking for as high of foot traffic as some of those folks may have been. Now, that's not to say that we don't expect to see high foot traffic, but we expect it to be coming from somewhere else. We see it coming from the immediate communities rather than, of people passing through. We also anticipate that our product is going to be so fantastic that we'll be bringing in people from across Cincinnati, regardless of how they have to get there.
And and I noticed that you guys are doing multiple share classes, and with the preferred share class, if someone were to put in their money into that share class, what's the turnaround time when they would expect to get their initial contribution back?
Yeah, so we have done our projections out to 3 years. And so we have a sense that you'll begin to be getting a dividend on our Class C shares in year 3. As far as making your investment back, I believe that would be beyond the 3-year horizon that we've looked at so far. But as far as are you talking about the Class D shares at the $100 level? Yeah. So
well, more so the preferred shares, because it's a big investment for
absolutely.
someone. So when we think about time horizon, and usually it's a J curve, you go into the negative first, but then you get into the positive, and you would expect to recoup your initial investment, and then own a percentage share of the business ongoing and getting distributions. So generally speaking, how long do you think that time horizon would be before you start recouping that full amount that was put in?
Yeah, I would say that's most likely. Dad, I think you might be better suited to answer this question since you have the numbers in front of you. So,
Well, like we said, we were going to retain profits, which aren't huge in the first 2 years, and begin dividends in the 3rd year. And I can imagine that we'd be in a time horizon to in a 6 to 8 year period, you'd be able to pull, get the return back that you're talking about, Marvin, in that space.
Okay, helpful. Thank you very much for that.
Sure.
Okay. Well, unless there are any other questions, thank you very much. Go ahead.
From Steve Olenek. He's asking about plans for canning or bottling and providing limited distribution. And the answer is yes. We're going to start out with using the tap room because the margins are very, very good there. But we do have intentions to do canning probably after we get into about year 1 under our belt. Maybe even sooner, because with the pandemic, the desire to have cans to go is very large, and we always expected to do some limited distribution to restaurants and places like that, so that people could taste our beer and decide that they want to come out to the restaurant. So the answer is yes, Steve, and it won't take us all that long to ramp up to that space, but we'll want to get our feet under us and use the tap rooms where the margins are very good to be able to make that next leap into that space.
yeah, and I'll kind of add on to that, is that the limited distribution to local like neighborhood places where beer is served, we would see that, given that the margins on distribution are quite low, we would see that more as a marketing exercise than actually a money-making exercise until we're able to actually be more at scale. And then yeah, I don't remember what else I was going to say, so I'll just leave it at that.
Great. Well, any final thoughts from you guys before we turn it over to the next team? Got 1 minute.
No, we're good. We're
Oh.
happy to answer any additional questions on email, and I will send out my email on there on the chat. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it, and best of luck, everyone.